How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we are finally going to be taking a look at my push to Legend in Season 13. Thank God it is finally over. Honestly, I can probably say that I have had the least amount of fun in this season of GBL than probably all of the last seasons put together. It has just truly not been fun for me whatsoever. Like, normally I don't have any issues hitting Legend. Last season I had a little bit of difficulty, but I knew that I was going to hit it for sure in the like one of the little cups, just because I have a lot of stuff powered up for that a lot of people don't. So I always know that that's a fail-safe. If I don't hit it in like one of the main formats, I'll hit it there. But there was no little cups at all this season, and yeah, I was really starting to get worried here the last couple weeks where, you know, there's 2 weeks left and I still wasn't Legend, a week and a half left and I still wasn't Legend, and now it's like getting down to the last week here, and I was starting to get worried, but I did finally manage to pull it off, and this team here definitely helped me get there. This is not the team that I did the last 100 or so elo with, but this is the team that pulled me out of the slums of like being stuck right around 2700 and brought me all the way up to the high 2800s. And I think the reason this team is good is because, first of all, there are very few grass types in the Love Cup right now because of all the Charizards. So there's just very, very few grass types. So a lot of people aren't expecting a high damage grass type on their team, on the opponent's team. So they oftentimes are double and sometimes even triple weak to Vileplume. And for example, a lot of Alomomola Metachams on the teams, lots of these Slowbro, Slow Kings, and lots of fighters like Scrafties as well. So really, Vileplume can shred its way through pretty much all of those mons, and you're gonna see it make some people lose with 2 shields. And honestly, there are few things more enjoyable than forcing an opponent to lose with 2 shields. So we're gonna be watching some ridiculous battles, and I'm gonna apologize in advance because I have been awake now going on 30 hours. I played all my battles yesterday morning, and then I was up all night at work, played all my battles, hit Legend last night at work, and I should be sleeping right now, but I was just so excited that I finally did it. I was like, you know what? We're making a video about this. So here we are, and yeah, let's get into these after I take a sip of tea, because boy, I really need it. Anyway, we're going to hop right into these battles, and let's see what Shadow Vileplume can do in the Love Cup on its way to Legend. So in the first battle here, we have basically the worst lead that you could ask for in this meta. So we will be safe switching into the Galarian Slowbro. That is our safe switch, basically to draw out their best answer to a poison type, with the hopes that the Shadow Vileplume can sweep. And as you see, they did not switch out when we brought this in. So right away I'm thinking, they're not switching out, there's probably a Metacham in the back, because basically there's a Metacham always on the team somewhere. And I make a very risky bait here, and as you're going to see, it does not pay off. Really, there's no reason to make that high risk of a bait, especially considering that Psychic is only one more jab past the Sludge Bomb. And as you see, the opponent is a savage and calls my bait, and I don't even get a shield off of him in this matchup. So I've misplayed this already, but you are going to see that there is something that's going to work in my favor, because the opponent, as you saw, stayed into my Galarian Slowbro with his Alomomola. And as you're going to see again, he does not wait his switch clock when he brings it back in, and our switch clocks are misaligned, and he's locked into my Vileplume, and Vileplume absolutely deletes the Alomomola, and there's a Metacham in the back, and the opponent is not going to even have a chance to shield a charge move this game, because it's basically all fast moves. I shield a power-up punch. I knew it was a power-up punch, but basically if I don't shield that power-up punch, then I don't get a farm all the way down. So I actually double shield power-up punches, and as you're going to see, I'm going to Razor Leaf down this entire Metacham, and my Magcargo is still alive in the back, and the opponent loses with 2 shields in the first battle. So you love to see that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because we had some ridiculous wins just like that. We have another horrible lead, a Slowbro this time. So again, Galarian Slowbro is our safe switch. We bring it in, and again, the opponent is not switching out. So this time I think, actually, there's probably going to be a Metacham, so I might as well actually just shield, because it's going to be very difficult to take out. But it's actually a Lickitung. So I'm not really sure why the opponent didn't just bring that in right away. because Lickitung has a very comfortable matchup against all of the bros. So as you're going to see, I would have to commit my last shield there even to get off a second charge move. So yeah, maybe the opponent played me like that, I'm not sure, but I misread that, and now I'm down a shield. So this is actually really not a great situation because I'm not going to be able to farm down before I get hit with a Power Whip. But again, Vileplume has to have at least one shield to really have any play whatsoever, because it even loses the one shield to Alomomola just because Alomomola is so thick. So I saved the shield, but now my Magcargo is very low, and they actually bring in the Medicham. And at this point, my only win con is for him to think this is a Rock Tomb and let it go, and he does. He doesn't shield the overheat, thinking it's a Rock Tomb, and now the opponent is going to get fully Razor Leaf down again with 2 shields still left in play, and he's going to, in desperation, throw a power-up punch, but it is not going to save him. And Shadow Vileplume, once again, is going to fully Razor Leaf down a backline and force a 2-shield loss from the opponent. So, wow, GG there. That poor opponent. He had the game in the bag. All he had to do was shield his Medicham, and you live and learn. So that time we had a mirror match, but the opponent was actually running Incinerate. So he switches into his Medicham, and Galarian Slowbro has a very nice matchup here. We win all even shielding scenarios, but what I'm hoping to do is to come out of this and still win this matchup without committing a shield. So I farm up here, and I throw my Psychic on the CMP tie, thinking the opponent's probably going to let it go, and I'm just praying that this KOs, and the opponent lives with like 2 HP left. So unfortunately, I actually am going to have to give up a shield here. So again, if you can give 2 shields to Shadow Vileplume, it's basically a guaranteed win unless they have like a Charizard in the back. But with 1 shield, things get a little dicey. So I'm hoping I can get a shield back here. But as you see, the opponent makes a very nice read, knowing he can survive that, and he farms me all the way down, and he has a move loaded. So this is looking a little bit rough. My only chance at winning this is if the opponent is running the stereotypical Medicham Alomomola, and sure enough, there's the Alomomola, and Shadow Vileplume forces another 2-shield quit from the opponent. So you just love to see the 2-shield losses. It's one of my favorite things about the game. And again, sorry, I'm pounding down this tea so I can stay awake here, but a Crustle lead is pretty neutral, but it's slightly worse for them because our rock throws add up a little bit faster. So I actually safe switch out of there just to see what they have in the back that doesn't want to see our Magcargo. And they bring a Wigglytuff into my Galarian Slowbro. So you guys already know what this team is. This is going to be a double charm backline. And if you notice, this team does very, very well against charm. So basically, charmers have nowhere to go. So I'm going to bring in the Magcargo, and I'm going to fully farm down this Wigglytuff, and I'm fully expecting there to be either a Clefable or the, what's the other one called, Romatisse, I think that's how you say it. So I basically already know that that's what's in back, so I don't even show him the Vileplume. And here I know he's going to be coming in with a Crustle trying to snipe, so I bring in my Vileplume and snipe, and what's in the back? There's the second Charmer, and Shadow Vileplume is going to shred this Charmer to bits. As you see, the Charms actually do quite a bit of damage, but our Razor Leafs are adding up faster, and the opponent once again concedes the match with shields still in play. You love to see it. And in the next battle, another absolutely terrible lead. We bring in the Galarian Slowbro, and once again, the opponent is not switching out. So what do you guys think is going to be in back? Probably going to be a Medicham. This time I actually throw my move right away. And again, in this matchup, Psychic will not KO here. So I am more than happy to let this go and potentially give Shadow Vileplume 2 shields if possible, because that's really what I would like to do, if at all possible, with this team. And hopefully I can get to another Sludge here. And I actually do get to a Sludge, so this is absolutely huge, because now I'm going to force a shield. And the nice thing is, he let his Alomomola get extremely low, so now our Magcargo is not going to have to face this, which is very, very nice. So we'll have to see what they have in the back. This is definitely not over, but with a shield advantage, we're looking very strong unless they have something like a Charizard hiding in the back. So we'll have to see. And they bring in a Wigglytuff to our Shadow Vileplume. So what on earth could they have in back? I was thinking that has a worse matchup against Vileplume than a Wigglytuff, so we'll have to see. At this point, I really had no idea. I thought maybe it was going to be another double charm line, but as you see, it's actually a Medicham, so this is now actually a little bit scary because the Wigglytuff did a decent amount of charm damage to us, and as you see, we're going to have to shield a power-up punch, and Oh, unfortunately, it's an Ice Punch, thank goodness. I was going to say, if that's a Power-Up Punch, that many might actually win this game. But since he's not running Power-Up Punch, I think we're actually going to be fine. I think our Magcargo can come in here and fully Rock Throw down. And yeah, even if he baits here, he's not getting to an Ice Punch and a Psychic. So we're actually going to Rock Throw down a Fighting type for the win in that game. But I was going to say, if that's a Power-Up Punch on our Vileplume, that many might sweep our backline. But we get the job done in the end. And a fairly neutral lead. Finally, a not negative lead for us into a Lickitung. But then they bring in a Slowking in here. Look at how much damage those Confusions did. And check this out. Our nice Shadow IVs there survive on 1 HP. So there I just saw the water typing and I bring the Vileplume in, and when those 2 Confusions registered, it literally did half of our HP from just 2 Confusions. So that was an extremely risky play, but fortunately we do maintain alignment because, again, the Slow family does not really like to see Lickitung. So I'm glad to keep this aligned to my Magcargo because I can shield that first move and then debuff him here with this Rock Tomb, and future moves and licks will do a lot less damage. So now we don't have to shield the next one, and we can comfortably just stay in here, tank this move, and then basically get to our next move and KO this thing if we want to. But we'll have to see what they have in the back here. Do I decide to switch out? No, I actually don't switch out, and they have another Shadow Bro in the back, and for some reason, I honestly don't have any explanation for you guys of why I went for the Overheat here and not the Rock Tomb. We get the shield anyway, but it would have been nice to debuff them. But I think we're actually going to be just fine here because we are going to outpace this Confusion. So all I have to do is basically farm up a little bit past the Sludge Bomb and basically farm up to a point where I can outpace the Lickitung to a Body Slam. So as you see, I throw just before he gets to another move, and now I'm only a couple jabs away from the Sludge here, and I should be able to outpace the Lickitung. And yes. Oh, actually go for the Psychic there too as a little bit of a BM. So probably just to make sure that that KO'd. And does it KO actually? Yeah, it does KO because Licky's very bulky. So GG there. And yeah, these battles are kind of fast because we have a lot of fast move pressure on this team. So again, another Slowbro there, and this one's actually running Water Gun, which is like worst case scenario for our team. And then they bring in an Electrode, and Electrode is a very difficult Pokemon for this team simply just because it's very spammy, and the only thing that resists Electric on our team is Vileplume. But again, Vileplume is so glassy that it almost doesn't seem like it resists it. So if the Electrode wants to, it will be able to outpace my Bro here. So what I actually decide to do, rather than going into the 2 shields and probably losing, I actually just get his second shield there, and now I'm just going to let my Bro go down. Even though I'm going to lose switch advantage here, I now have a shield advantage. So as long as they don't have like a Charizard in the back, again, our Vileplume is going to be just fine. And actually what you see there is the opponent undercharged, so I actually stopped attacking, knowing he was going to get to another move anyway, and this way my Magcargo gets a couple extra Rock Throws of farm. So that's why I stopped attacking there. And now we're just going to fully trust in the Vileplume, and as you see, maybe you could argue that I should have gone for switch advantage there because the opponent is actually running a Charizard in the back, and I really didn't see a lot of Charizards in the back. Typically when I saw Charizards, they were almost always on the lead, so I didn't really have a problem with giving up switch oftentimes if I didn't see a Charizard on the lead. But as you see, giving up switch here is basically going to cost me this game, and the water guns are just going to be too oppressive. We do play it out and make it fairly close. If we were running Stone Edge here, this would have been maybe closer to KOing, but as you see, yeah, Rock Tomb is just not that powerful of a move, and we do lose that one simply just because I basically gave myself shield advantage instead of switch there, and obviously Shadow Vileplume has no play against Charizard. So Druddigon lead here the next battle. The Dragon Tails are going to add up quite a bit, but as you see, the Rock Throws add up quite a bit as well, and I do like to let the first one go just in case they Night Slash and get a boost, but as you see, he goes straight for the Dragon Claw, which does do a bit more damage. So I'm actually just going to build up. I'm not really sure why I go for the Overheat. It's a little bit cheaper, but I was only getting to 1 move anyway. And then he actually shields it, so I'm more than happy to now bring in the Slowbro and farm down. I will respect the Night Slash here, but again, I'm thinking if he's staying in here and trying to chip me, he might not have the best answer. And he actually brings a Scrafty into my loaded Slowbro here, so this is perfectly fine, because I can definitely force shields off this Scrafty, and I might even be able to get his last shield. So I think I actually shield this, I normally like to save a shield for the Vileplume, but I'm thinking I still have that Magcargo left over as a third shield. So I'm going to farm up to CMP here. And if he wants to KO my Slowbro here, he's going to be forced to throw his Foul Play, shield and throw his Foul Play. And he actually does shield. So now we're setting ourselves up for a potential Vileplume sweep, because Vileplume can come in here and farm down and get a slight energy head start. And I was totally reading here that there was going to be a Alomomola in the back, but as you see, it's actually a poison Slowbro, the same one I have, so this is actually not very good. But as you see there, I count to 8 and I catch the Sludge Bomb onto my Magcargo, and Sludge Bomb does KO the Magcargo. But now that since we did that, we're going to be able to watch for the catch there. I knew he was going to try to make the catch, and now we're going to Moonblast the Slowbro for the win. So GG there to the opponent. But I knew he was probably going to want to throw right away, knowing I was getting close to my move. And then again, I called that he was going to try to catch my move back. So I just held on to my energy there. And that's going to be another good game. And I think there might be maybe 2 battles left. So another bad lead. We're again doing the same exact thing, bringing in the Galarian Slowbro to the regular bro. And this time I am not baiting. I learned my lesson from the last battle, so I'm going straight for the Psychic. And of course, the time that I actually throw the move, the opponent shields. But either way, he was going to outpace me to 2 lunges before I got to another move anyway. And I'm not going to be shielding, so it didn't really matter. Because again, as you see, I would have not quite gotten to the Psychic anyway. So yeah, we're going to go down. We get their shield advantage. We're going to come in and farm down with Magcargo, because Magcargo isn't really threatened at all by this Ariodos's energy. So what I'll do is I'll farm down all the way, and then as soon as that bro comes back in, I'll dip into the Vileplume and just hope that there's a Medicham in the back that we can just Razor Leaf our way through, because that's the goal of this team, really. We get the opponents low with our fast moves, and then we hope that they let moves go that they know don't KO, and that way the Razor Leaf damage just shreds the backline. But as you see, we actually have another Grass type in the back, but this Grass type has access to Leaf Blade and Superpower. Both moves are which are going to be fully walled by our Vileplume. So we basically just come in here, we shield the first one, because I figured a Superpower actually would probably nearly KO even though it's resisted, just because Vileplume's so glassy. And here I'm recognizing that if he Superpowers, I could just farm down. So I actually call a Leaf Blade here, which is very risky, but we survived the Leaf Blade. And now we've actually gotten this thing so low that I could just simply let this go, get 1 Rock Throw off with my Magcargo, farm it down, and I have the move loaded for the bro. And we're going to easily be taking out this bro here. And this actually might just barely not KO, but we still have a shield. So we're actually going to be taking out the water type with the Magcargo. And that's going to be another GG. The opponent actually does throw their move for some reason, even though he knew it was over. But maybe he was just expecting, or hoping I should say, that I just decided to concede and let it go. But I do not, because I was really playing these battles extremely intensely because I was just so frustrated at the game. So yeah, I think this is the last battle. We have a shiny Druddigon, and again, we're going to play this the same exact way. We let the first one go, and then I think this time I just go straight for the Overheat. No real reason to build up to the Rock Tomb, because an Overheat is more than enough to KO, because Druddigon's pretty glassy. And as you're going to see, this time the opponent actually just lets it go. And now I'm going to safe switch right away into my Slowbro, because I don't want the Magcargo there to get a nice farm down, because a Medi with an energy advantage can do okay against our bro. So again, I will be taking the first move here, knowing that 1 move does not KO. And we're just going to now be putting the pressure on the opponent, because our move will nearly KO the Medicham. And actually, here I was going to CMP tie him to the Psychic, but he actually throws on 6, so I recognize that this could be an Ice Punch. And yeah, it is an Ice Punch, but now we're still in a decent position, because we can either take this thing out or get both shields. And I actually just hope he lets it go. He doesn't, but I really just want him to let this go. That way Vileplume can just shred his backline. And we'll have to see, does he let this one go? No, he doesn't. He actually doesn't. So I think at this point, yeah, I think at this point we're just going to put it all on the Vileplume. And what are they going to have in the back? I think it's going to be something that definitely does not want to see our Vileplume. And it's actually a Charizard. So thank goodness that I actually saved my Magcargo there and did not let what mon was it? I did not let the Magcargo get farmed down by the Medicham. And as you see, like a quarter health Magcargo takes out a full Charizard and then the Vileplume sweeps up the Medicham back. And that closes out probably one of the spicier teams that I've actually succeeded with this season, because I don't know about you guys, but I think I've only seen one other Shadow Vileplume in the Love Cup, because again, with all the Charizards and the Ariadoses out there, people just are scared to run grass types, and myself included. I truly was expecting to actually tank using this team, but I was like, you know what? On the Go Battle Day, you want to just use those heavy fast move teams just to get you through your sets as fast as possible to get that dust. But this team, again, really worked out for me. So if you guys are looking for a kind of surprise factor that takes out the fighters and the water types, I would actually recommend the Shadow Vileplume to you. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm sure you guys can tell that I'm literally running on like 5 hours of sleep in the last 48 hours, but thanks for bearing with me. And we are at Legend, like I said, so the next week we are going to be running full on Spice until the next season starts. So stay tuned for that. I've got some really fun ideas for the next cup for you guys. And that being said, thank you so much for watching. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.